How's it going, everybody? Mike on Scrugger Hawk here, and I wanted to go ahead and do an instructional video on footwork and angles. It'll really help you land those bread and butter shots a lot easier. So first off, when you square off to your opponent, you noticed I have these little tape marks on the ground here. This is to simulate my hourglass roll, which is actually off to the side, but is an actual hourglass, and I generally set my pail up right at the very end. But I've been doing a lot of mirror training, so I have my pail right here for now, and it's actually been here for about 2 months now. But what you're trying to teach yourself to do when you're doing this on your pail is you're trying not to just square up and face your pail and fire your blows directly in front. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to simulate that moment. This line for me is the edge of measure, where I can strike my opponent due to the length of my sword. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do, say, an off leg into a wrap. So let's go ahead and set that up properly. So I'm going to cross my measure, stepping over to this angle. And might I add that the very center of this is a half step. So that's about 16 inches for me. So it's about 32 about. So I'm going to step in to set up the wrap with that very first shot being my bread. Basically, I've talked about bread and butter before, but this is the setup for it, the principle of the X. I step in, fire the shot, and I slide across and fire the wrap. So much more effective, and I'll explain it in just a second, than just walking up to your opponent and doing this. It's far more effective. Now there's two reasons why you step in at an angle when you cross measure. Now say my opponent is flanking to the left, we've lay on, we're getting close to crossing, someone's about to cross. You come up to the line and you want to stop them from crossing left, generally you just step left. Just step to that side. Or catch them stepping left. So you can do these setups. Now the main reason why I do this, I step in at just slight angles to my opponent. When you're firing your shot, your opponent is either going to brace themselves, which means plant, and they slightly rotate towards the angle that you're at. So they're going to actually want to face me like this. And when I catch people transitioning into planting and rotating, as soon as I see that action, that's when I step across and I fire my actual butter, which is my kill. And you can do that, of course, to pretty much either side. Here's another one of my favorites. So I'm stepping over here. I'm looking to see if they plant and start to rotate and face me at this angle right here. The very second I see them doing that, I'll do about a half a step and step right in over to the side. So they're starting to race me this way, and right as I start to see the race, I step over to the side. Now they have to try to race me back. But in that moment, they have to think about it after they see it and then start to react. So it's kind of a chain reaction. A lot of the people I catch are still racing me after planting this way. By the time my shot comes in at full speed, they're still in the motion of opening up their door for me. Now, when you're crossing measure, the two things that you're going to want to look for is, do you want to cut your opponent off from taking that angle? Do you want to just stop them, just move to that angle? Generally, they get put in a flight or fight situation. Everyone does like that when someone crosses measure on them. And they're either going to back up and generally retreat this direction, or they'll just back up straightwards, or they're going to brace for the fight. And if they brace for the fight, that's what I'm wanting to see for these bread and butter setups. And like I said, you can do them from either side. I love that one right there. That's one of my favorite ones. Get them to plant, rotate. The second I see it, it's just a half step, fire for the belt, and quick return. So that's really about it for the angles and footwork. The other thing, oh my God, now if I wouldn't have mentioned this, I would have beat myself down. All right. So it's not important enough that you just train what I showed you when you're stepping in at the angles. What you want to do is you want to return your sword into your defense and then just retreat away from your opponent's sword. Practice that always, always. No matter which direction you kind of retreat from, at whatever angle, just return it into your defense and retreat. Just practice that constantly. Don't just get in the habit of practicing this stuff right here and walking out and resetting and doing that, because you will do that at the wrong moment. You're kind of teaching yourself that it's okay to retreat with your guard down. So I really hope that helped, and if you noticed, I generally try not to get any closer to my opponent than this line right here. If I go past it here, like if I throw a wrap, or I do a double, or I step here and do that, I don't get any closer than about a full step in distance. And the main reason is because I can throw my optimum range to land is right in that area, right here. If I get any closer, I'm smothered. You know, everyone's range is different, but it will be about a full step. You don't want to be any closer than that to your honorable opponent because your targeting and your firing of your shots, they just won't be near as good. But anyways, I hope this helped. When you're thinking about that, you can use this trick right here when you're crossing measure to come in and force your opponent into a fight or flight situation. They're either going to brace themselves, that's what you wanted when you stepped in anyway, so you can do the slide across. Or they're going to retreat straight back or that way in most cases. And if you do it here, it'll be the exact opposite. But yeah, you're just looking for those actual moments where people brace themselves. They turn and rotate and they're trying to race you. And that's when those two shot combos, bread and butter, principle of the X, they're extremely powerful. So, all right, really quick bonus footage using your footwork with angles. Now I grabbed my shield to show you this really quick. But this simulates those moments where you can either pull this foot back and use your shield to meet them in that direction as they're going that way, or they decide to make a pass at you that way on your weak side, and you just pull your shield back with just your leg. It's just the leg movement, it's so neat. So yeah, going ahead and using the angles and pulling your feet back depending on which direction they come at you. Instead of just going straight back, seriously. All right, I hope this helped. If it did, just go ahead and let me know.